Tolkien once remarked that the prime motive of his fiction was the elucidation of truth and the encouragement of good morals in the real world, and the truth he had in mind was the broadly Catholic vision of creation, freedom, and destiny. Games. The Shadow of Mordor and the Shadow of War, for all their affectionate quotation of Middle-earth geography, reverse that vision at nearly every point. Start with the central question: how is evil defeated? For Aquinas, and therefore for Tolkien, evil is not a substance to be outgunned, but a privation healed by virtue, grace, and hidden providence. Frodo's quest succeeds precisely because the hobbit does not try to master the ring. He renounces self-assertion, and the deed is completed by mercies he never planned. Bilbo's pity, Gollum's obsession, the ring's own treachery. The games replace that pattern with the oldest temptation in the book: acquire a bigger stick. Talion and Celebrimbor do not renounce power, they incubate it. They forge a second ring, raise a private orc army, and set out to dominate Sauron the way Sauron dominated others. Power is treated as a neutral tool that merely needs better firmware. Thomistic ethics warns that the means chosen sculpt the moral identity of the chooser. Every instrument of iniquity leaves a deposit on the will. Boromir, Saruman, even Frodo at the crack of doom learn that one cannot touch pitch and remain unstained. The game system, ingenious as it is, insulates the player from that cost. You brand minds, explode heads, raise the dead, yet the mechanics reward ever greater coercion with loot and orc promotions. Talion's groaned one-liners supply the aesthetic of tragedy without its metaphysical weight. The gameplay loop still high-fives you for creative cruelty. Then, there is the status of orcs. Tolkien, following the logic of grace and nature, presents orcs as rational creatures so totally given over to malice that they have become irredeemable. You may pity them, but you cannot parley with them any more than you can reform a cancer. Shadow of Mordor turns them into career-minded middle managers. Ratbag, Bruise, and the rest are comic, sympathetic, even plausibly liberal subjects. They have career ladders, grievances, quirky personalities. The Thomistic claim that some fixed orientation to the good is prerequisite to personality is simply set aside. Personality is whatever an AI behavior tree can simulate. Behind that shift lies a different anthropology. In the books, even the mighty define their greatness by renunciation. Gandalf and Galadriel measure their power by the temptation they refuse. Monolith gives us the modern liberal self, a sovereign will that merely needs better instruments. Celebrimbor is a startup founder shopping for seed funding. Talion is the wearable tech that keeps him alive. Freedom is redefined as the capacity to rewrite the world so that it serves my life plan, not as the liberty to align oneself with an order that precedes choice. Politically, Tolkien calls legitimate rule ministerial, patterned on the servant king, who spends decades laboring in the wilds before he claims the crown. The Bright Lord Project is the exact opposite. Install the right artifact, manage the orc HR system, and history will bend. Where Aquinas and Tolkien see original sin as a permanent drag on every earthly blueprint, the game sees only an engineering problem. Patch the security flaws in Ring 2.0, and the millennium can be brought in by Tuesday. Finally, there is the question of hope. Tolkien coined the term eucatastrophe for the evangelic turn that breaks the logic of might makes right. History is not a cyclical arms race, but a drama moving toward a joy that no human calculus could engineer. Shadow of War ends by promising Ring 3.0. Evil is not transcended, it is out-updated. The post-credit teaser is the perfect liberal eschatological image. Progress as iterative upgrade, providence as better firmware. So the philosophical distance between Tolkien and the games is not a matter of lore fidelity, whether elves swear in Quenya or the timeline allows Minas Ithil to fall yet. It is the deeper divergence between a Thomistic cosmos, in which power is safe only in the hands that refuse it, and a late modern liberal cosmos, in which power is the neutral prerequisite of any project of the self. One imagines history held open by grace, the other imagines history closed by technique. One teaches that the means stain the end, the other that the end justifies the patch notes. One ends with the quiet hymn of the hobbits singing on the keys of the Grey Havens, the other with a wraith promising that version 3.0 will definitely not corrupt the user. Tolkien would call that the oldest heresy of all, non serviam disguised as pragmatism